Hi friends, welcome back to my cozy little corner of the internet. I'm Fleur, and if you're new here, hi, welcome. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope you are ready to just hang out and relax together. Today I'm going to talk to you about the books that I read in February, and I will say I DNF'd more than that I actually read, so I'm excited to get into it. I might end up being a little bit of a hater, but nothing too crazy. And you can just put this on in the background if you want to fall asleep. I'm going to be doing soft spoken with my Rode microphone that is pinned to my shirt, just to switch up the vibe a little. I'm excited to talk about the books, so let's get into it. Before we start, I want to show you something because it has to do with the first book that I want to talk about. This is a little book sleeve. The lighting is really bad tonight, so don't pay attention to that, okay? This is a book sleeve that was made by my best friend for my birthday, and it was so sweet that she made this for me and she gave it to me, but in it there was a book. And she said to me, yo, I got it at the thrift store, you don't have to read it, I just wanted to put a book in the sleeve. And the book that was in it was Lost Boy by Christina Henry. It is a YA fantasy book, and I'm not the biggest YA fantasy reader, though I loved the Cruel Prince series. I was feeling very uninspired, and I was like, you know what, let me just give this a chance. I love the story of Peter Pan. I grew up on that story, so I don't know, I was like, let's do it. And then I was reading some reviews on it, and people were picturing Captain Hook. I'll get to the plot and why this is very relevant. They pictured Captain Hook as Captain Hook from Once Upon a Time, the TV show, and I had such a crush on him. However, it's a YA fantasy, so this is about teenagers, so it wasn't really working in my brain, but that's fine. This is the back. There is one version of my story that everyone knows, and then there is the truth. Once I loved a boy called Peter Pan. Peter brought me to his island because there were no rules, no grown-ups to make us mind. He brought boys from the other place to join in on the fun, but Peter's idea of fun is sharper than a pirate's sword. He wants always to be that shining sun that we all revolve around. He'll do anything to be that sun. Peter promised we would all be young and happy forever. Peter will say I'm a villain and that I wronged him, that I never was his friend. Peter lies. This follows the first lost boy that Peter brought to Neverland. It follows the dynamic between him and Peter and him and the other boys, and along the story you see the truth about Neverland and what Peter's relationship to the island is and why he's doing what he's doing. And this is kind of a villain origin story, I guess, about Captain Hook. And there are elements of this that I enjoyed. I would rate it a 4 out of 10 probably, but that's just because I'm an adult and this is not my favorite genre, and it's not, it wasn't anything too memorable, but I did enjoy the read, so I did read that this month. Then I have a book that I don't have a physical copy of, so I'll just tap on my journal a little. I read Out of the Woods by bonam-young. It is the second book in her interconnected standalone romance. I don't know if it's just 2 books or if there will be more, but I had previously read Out on a Limb, and I really, really loved that book. And so I wanted to read Out of the Woods, of course. It didn't hit the same because Out of the Woods was I don't know, just a very specific vibe. This story was a kind of second chance romance. It was an already existing couple trying to revive their relationship, basically, and work through their issues. On the one hand, I think if I wanted to sit in on a couple and read about their troubles, I could just text my friends in relationships. Like, did I really want to read a book about that? But on the other hand, I think that it was a cozy read, and I don't know, I think it's cool that she wrote this perspective instead of just two individuals and then they meet. I think it's a nice angle that it was already an existing couple and she still made it interesting and enjoyable. I don't know, it didn't feel very dramatic or high stakes or anything. I don't know, the only word that's coming to mind is comforting. I don't have a lot of opinions about it. I think it's like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 rating. I actually do keep track of what I'm reading in my journals. I'll see what I rated it after I finished. Yeah, I rated it 6.5 out of 10. Just because it's comfy, it's cozy, it's entertaining, but it's not something I would necessarily recommend. If you haven't read Out on a Limb yet, I'd highly recommend giving that one a try. And if you've already read that one and you like her writing, then you will enjoy Out of the Woods, because it does have a lot of Win and what's her name content in it, and it's like nice to see that dynamic between the two girls. But I don't know, there are other romance books that I would recommend more than this one, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was Out of the Woods. It was the last book that I read on my Kindle before I sold it. I talked about this on my Instagram story and I posted about it on my community tab, but I have broken up with Amazon, if you will, but I still had a Kindle, and Kindle makes it really difficult to download third-party ebooks to it, and now they changed a feature where you can't download your ebooks anymore, and the way that their books are encrypted, you can't read it on a different e-reader. It's a whole thing, so a lot of your library of the ebooks that you purchase, you still don't really own. And I'm so sick of that rental culture, if you will, where you still think that you bought something but you still don't own it. I don't want to support Amazon. I don't want to give them my money, and so I decided to sell it. I've been very happy about that decision, but that was my last read on my Kindle. Then I have a DNF, and it's one that I did not really expect to DNF. I haven't decided, well, if I'm being honest with myself, I haven't decided. It's a hard DNF. I'm going to put this on my Vinted. It's just not for me. I'm not going to force myself to read it just because it's popular, but it's Intermezzo by Rooney. This follows two brothers who have very different personalities, who are going through grieving the loss of their father, and one man meets a woman and another one is kind of juggling between two women, and one of them plays chess. That's pretty much just all I know about it. I bet that this has great character development, that the writing will remain really good, because it is beautiful writing, but it's just not for me. The story is not for me. I'm not gripped by it. I'm not reaching for it. I think I'm 50 pages in or something. I am just not having a good time, and I'm not going to waste my time force reading a book. If it's so much work to get through the words of a book, then it's not for me. Also, you know, English isn't my first language, so I do find this a bit more difficult to read. This just wasn't the book for me, so we're breaking up, and it's time to say goodbye, and I'm done lying to myself and thinking, I'll get to this, I'll get to this. I don't know. If someone in the comments is like, this book is really going to change your world perspective, it will blow you away, or if you have something like outstandingly good to say about it, I'll reconsider, but this is going to go on my Vinted in the meantime. So that's kind of sad. And then I have a soft DNF, perhaps. And I didn't really expect a lot from this book, but it's not really interesting to me, honestly, I have to say. And that's Babel, or Babel, Babylon, so Babel probably. I'll read the back to you. Oxford, 1836. The city of dreaming spires. It is the center of all knowledge and progress in the world, and at its heart is Babel, Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation. The tower from which all the power of the empire flows, orphaned in Canton and brought to England by a mysterious guardian, Robin Swift thought Babel a paradise until it became a prison. But can a student stand against an empire? This has a lot of focus on language, and it has a bit of that dark academia vibe. I don't really know what dark academia means, but I think that this might be it. I am just so not interested in this type of story, and I don't know if it's a right now type of thing or if it's a general thing for me. I read The Secret History by Donna Tartt that had academia, had that vibe. I do love an historical fiction, so I can't put my finger on it, but this is just not doing it for me. So it's a soft DNF. I'll give it another try tonight probably, and see if something changes in the vibes, but I think the same as this book, the vibes in both of these are just very grey. It makes a lot of sense that this is the cover of the book. It's just giving grey and gloomy, and this one does as well for me personally. And that's not my vibe at all. So I don't really know yet what I want to do with this book. But for now it's going back on the shelf probably, unless tonight something changes and I read it and I think, oh my god. So I'm open to having my mind changed about it. This is what I have been reading this month, but I didn't finish. And then for another current read, I'm currently reading Ikigai. This is by Héctor, García, and Francesc Miralles. God, I butchered those names. But discover the Japanese secret to a long and happy life with the internationally best-selling guide, Ikigai. The people of Japan believe that everyone has an ikigai, a reason to jump out of bed each morning. Inspiring and comforting, this book will give you the life-changing tools to uncover your personal ikigai. It will show you how to leave urgency behind, find your purpose, nurture friendships, and throw yourself into your passion. Bring meaning and joy to every day with ikigai. So ikigai is a Japanese concept for life purpose. It's kind of where your hobbies and interests, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can bring you money kind of intertwine and meet, and that's where your ikigai lies. And I was really interested in this story I've heard a lot about it over the past couple of years, and I just wanted to know more about it. And I just generally am pretty conscious of lifestyle and longevity, and this book feels very comforting for me to read. There's a lot in it about, for example, your sleeping habits, your eating habits, just the way that you fill in your life. And there's a lot of, I don't know, it feels like I'm talking to a like-minded friend when I'm reading this book, and that feels very comforting, and I'm learning new things. I got this for Christmas from my brother, and yeah, it's been nice to just pick this up every once in a while. And I think it's a very easy, understandable read, and I really like the concept of it. And yeah, I think that your purpose and your goals and your ikigai can also change over the years, over the course of your life. Life can throw you in so many directions. But I do think it's so lovely and helpful to think actively about what makes you happy and what brings you joy, and trying to define that. And your ikigai doesn't have to become your job, but this does make me realize a lot how privileged I am in how I do think that at the moment, for now, my ikigai does lie somewhere in what I'm doing on YouTube and making these videos. And I'm slowly figuring out my next steps outside of YouTube. Not that I'm leaving or going anywhere, but just generally what I want to do. And I feel like this book, like I said, is just a comforting read. And it's nice to have some new insights maybe, or try out a new angle in how I'm looking at things. So yeah, I would highly recommend picking this up at your local library, or see if they have it on Vinted, because this book has been so popular that you can probably find it anywhere. So those were already the books that I have been reading and not reading, but I just got back from the thrift store with my friend, and I actually picked up a book there that I want to show you, because I think that this will be my next read if I don't like babel. And it is the Dutch translation of, what's the English name? Probably These Letters End in Tears. This is about two women in Cameroon falling in love, and one of them ends up disappearing, and then 13 years later one of them starts looking for her. And honestly, I love a gripping story, and I feel like this might definitely be that. And I think just culturally this will be a much more interesting read than all the white straight romances that I've read over the past couple months. Just, it's been enough for now, I need to keep throwing these in or I'll go crazy. So that's why I chose this. It's written by Musih Tedji Xaviere, who's born in Cameroon, lives in Great Britain, and this is her debut novel. Was crowned with the Pontus Prize and the J.J. Bola Emerging Writers Prize. And this is translated to Dutch by Laura Visser. And I'm just going to keep you posted on it. Let me know if you've read this. I think the fun part is that it's a translated book, so if we don't speak the same language, chances are still that one of you may have read it. So I would love to hear if you enjoyed this book. I am very excited to get started on this. One of the reviews on the back says, an intelligent, refined book that's not just about sexuality, homophobia, and traditional gender roles, but also about the heritage of the colonialism in West Africa. Xaviere's legendary and moving debut novel is a raging success. I had to translate that as I was reading it because the text is in Dutch. So I hope I did it justice, but sounds like it's going to be right up my alley, so I'm very excited about it. But yeah, I also think that the cover is really pretty. Very nice. Okay, that's everything that I have for today. I know it's a bit of a shorter video, but it's just what it is. I hope that next month I will have a bit more to say about the books that I've been reading. But honestly, I've just not been super interested in what I've been reading, because after I read Lost Boy, which was already kind of mid, I read Intermezzo and then Babel, so it was like 3 books in a row that I wasn't very excited about. And so I am craving something to really grip me. I'll let you know next month how it goes. Alright, I am sending you all my love, wishing you a very peaceful time wherever you are. I'm gonna come closer to give you a forehead kiss, but this is a leather chair, so I hope it doesn't make too much noise. Good night, and I'll see you very, very soon.